Advanced Micro Devices, AMD, just dropped its third quarter 2025 earnings, and the headline reads like a rom-com, great chemistry on the surface. But somebody's reading the signals wrong. Revenue and profits came in meaningfully ahead of expectations, the data center engine hummed along, and analysts nudged up price targets. Yet the stock fell nearly 4% in after-hours trading. Let's break down what happened, why investors reacted the way they did, and why this still could be a setup for bigger things down the road. Big numbers, solid beat, but read the fine print. AMD reported $9.25 billion in revenue for Q3 2025, a 36% year-over-year increase, and adjusted EPS of $1.20, both of which topped Wall Street's consensus. That's not a rounding error, it's real growth, and it shows AMD is successfully selling more silicon into servers, PCs, and GPUs. The company's own press release and multiple market outlets confirmed the top line and the beat. Importantly, the data center business, the part of AMD that carries the AI and cloud thesis, generated roughly $4.3 billion this quarter, up about 22% year-over-year. That segment is the most relevant to the market's long-term enthusiasm for AMD because data centers are where AI compute lives, and AI compute is where the growth margins and long product cycles can live for years. So, beat on top and bottom lines, strong data center growth. If this were a movie, the hero would get applause. So why the frown? The guidance conundrum, good versus euphoric expectations. Investors didn't react to Q3 in isolation. They reacted to Q4 guidance. Management gave guidance implying about $9.6 billion of revenue for Q4, midpoint, and an adjusted gross margin of 54.5%. That margin guidance was essentially in line with analyst consensus, not a material upside surprise, and that mattered. Market prices today often bake in optimism, and when guidance is merely solid, rather than flaming rocket ship, it can look like a disappointment to traders who were pricing in more expansion. In plain English, AMD showed that the business is growing nicely, but it didn't promise an extra gear of margin expansion next quarter. For a stock that's already up over 100% year-to-date, neutralish guidance is enough for some sellers to hit the exit button. That's why the stock slipped roughly 3 to 4% in after-hours trading despite the beat. By the way, if you are benefiting from the content so far and want more like this, like the video, it means much to me. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications bell, and comment the word more. Just go ahead and type the word more so I know. Now that you have commented, let's continue. Why margins matter, and why 54.5% is a big deal, even if traders wanted more. Margins are how investors translate revenue growth into free cash flow and, ultimately, stock multiples. A shift from 54% to 55% or 56% can mean billions in extra profit on annualized revenue. So when AMD says, "We expect 54.5%, it's both a statement about current product mix and about expected pricing, efficiencies, and product mix in the next quarter. But remember the context. AMD is investing aggressively in AI GPUs and EPYC server CPUs, and some investments, capacity, fab relationships, ecosystem support, can compress near-term margins while building runway for larger, higher-margin revenue later. In other words, a steady 54.5% now may be the foundation for much higher profit dollars later. It just didn't feel exciting enough for traders looking for immediate margin leverage. Data center, the engine, and the AI tailwind. The data center business doing $4.3 billion, up 22% YOY, is the most meaningful operational line item in the report. That's where AMD's chips, EPYC CPUs and Instinct GPUs, meet cloud providers, hyperscalers, and AI companies. Growth here signals adoption of AMD's architecture in mission-critical workloads. Even more interestingly, AMD has been rolling deals and wins that position it deeper into AI infrastructure supply chains. That's the long-term catalyst most growth investors care about. Think of it like this: if AMD's consumer chips are a sports car, sleek, visible, fun, the data center chips are a semi-truck hauling AI compute, less glamorous on the surface, but they move the heavy stuff and bring home the steady freight contracts. The analyst's reaction: Wedbush joins the hype train, carefully. After the report, Wedbush raised its price target. Recent reports cite a bump to $290 from $270, reflecting a view that AMD's better-than-expected performance reinforces a multi-year AI growth runway. Analyst upgrades like this are signals. The sell side is recalculating how much future profit AMD can deliver, and some firms are willing to push fair value higher. Analyst lifts don't equal instant rallies, but they matter for institutional flows and sentiment over time. So we have the paradox. Earnings beat plus analyst target increases equals long-term cheer. Guidance meets expectations equals short-term hand-wringing. Why the stock can still soar, a case for optimism. If you want a case that AMD is about to soar, here are the concrete building blocks. AI demand is real and sticky. Hyperscalers and cloud providers are building out AI capacity for years. Once you win a seat in a data center, you can get follow-on Windows, software integration, and repeat purchases. Imagine AMD as a bakery that finally got a chain contract. Once the shops start selling your bread, they keep ordering. Diversification of product wins. AMD isn't just selling CPUs anymore, it's selling GPU accelerators and whole CPU plus GPU platforms for AI. That expands addressable market and UPS average selling price per customer. Think of AMD evolving from a single-flavor ice cream stand to a gelato empire with seasonal specials. Better deals and partnerships. Public reports hint at multi-year agreements and deeper ties with major AI players. Those are the kinds of deals that produce multi-year revenue visibility, the sort of thing investors pay top dollar for. If OpenAI or big clouds sign multi-year deployments using AMD tech, the potential upside is enormous. Room for margin expansion over time. Even if Q4 margins were only in line, product mix shift toward high-margin AI accelerators and scale efficiencies could push margins higher in future quarters. That's the classic growth now, margin later playbook that markets reward when they're convinced the growth story is durable. Put together, the foundation is solid: sales plus product wins, the runway is long, AI compute demand, and management seems to be executing. That's why some analysts nudge targets higher, and why longer-term investors still think AMD can soar. Why did the stock fall? Short, punchy answer. Two forces collided. 1. The stock had already run up a lot this year, over plus 100% YTD, so expectations were lofty. 2. The guidance was good but not jaw-dropping. Margins were in line rather than above consensus. Traders who own the stock at richly inflated multiples often need progressive beats or upside guidance to justify holding. When they don't see it, they trim positions. The result: an after-hours dip despite great quarter numbers. Note this as well. Fear God, and give glory to Him, for the hour of His judgment is come, and worship Him that made heaven, and earth, and the sea, and the fountains of waters. And there followed another angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead, or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels, and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night. Who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints, here are they that keep the commandments of God, and the faith of Jesus. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Write, Blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth, yes, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. And I looked, and behold a white cloud, and upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man, having on his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle. Revelation 14 verses 7-14. If we fully obey the Lord, the Creator of heaven and earth, and carefully follow all His commandments, He has promised to set us high above all the nations of the earth. Deuteronomy 28. We shall be blessed when we come in and when we go out. I appeal to you to accept God and let Him be your guide, for He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. Deuteronomy 31 verse 8. Want more information? Please check the description section. That's the end for now. If you have watched until the end, drop a comment like this: I stayed until the end. Just comment that I stayed until the end. When I see this comment, I will give you a heart. 3 more favors I request from you. First, like this video, subscribe and then turn on the notifications bell. If you do this, you greatly encourage me to continue bringing to you insightful content. Do not miss out on our future videos full of insight. All I am asking is your subscription. Thanks for joining us today. Your support means so much to us. Do not hesitate to share this video to help someone who may benefit. I recommend that you watch the next video, subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts about today's video. Wish you God's blessings and care. Faith and prayer will do what no power on earth can accomplish. See you in the next video by God's mercy.